Well, I mean, that statement is just false. And look, I understand why Marco's feeling the heat, and he wants to tell people that his views on immigration are the same as mine. I mean, that would be, I get why his political advisors are telling him run away from his record. But at the end of the day, what Marco yesterday said, gosh, his record was just like mine on immigration. Well, that's a little bit like Obama saying his record is just like mine on Obamacare. That's a little bit like the Ayatollah Khamenei saying his record is just like mine on the Iranian nuclear deal. It is laughingly, blazingly false. Look, when the fight happened in the Senate, Marco stood shoulder to shoulder with Chuck Schumer, fighting for a massive amnesty plan. And when the fight happens in the Senate, I stood shoulder to shoulder with Jeff Sessions, fighting against that massive amnesty plan, and we defeated it. And so the rest of it is revisionist history, trying to change what happened.
Do you think, considering he did back amnesty, and running here in Florida, he promised a lot of people that he would never do that? Do you think he owes these people, these voters, an apology? People who voted for him, a lot of them are voting for you, or not voting at all for him, simply because they feel betrayed by him.
Well, look, every elected official has to determine what they owe to the people who elected them. I'll tell you what I've tried to do to the men and women of Texas who elected me. I told Texans the same thing Marco told Floridians, which is, if you elect me, I will go and lead the fight against amnesty. And that was a promise I kept. I did exactly what I told the voters I would do. And it's one of the reasons I think we're seeing so much support behind our campaign is over and over again as I travel the country, people say, I will say this, you're doing what you said you would do. And I think people are fed up with politicians that say one thing on the campaign trail and do something very, very different when they get to Washington. That's how we got in the mess we're in now.
What would you do with these 11 million or whatever illegal immigrants here? Trump says deport them all, 500,000 a month. What do you think? What's your idea?
Look, I think we can solve this problem, but we don't have to solve it one at a time. This is one of the traps the Democrats try to get into, is comprehensive reform, wrap everything in, and we've discovered that's quicksand. We need to start where there's bipartisan agreement. The first priority is we have to secure the borders. For decades, politicians in Washington have been promising the voters they will secure the borders, and it hadn't happened. And the American people naturally say, baloney. We don't believe you. We don't believe your promises anymore, because every time you make them, they don't get done. So what do we need to do? Existing federal law is actually quite strong on this. For example, it is current federal law that there must be 700 miles of double-layered fencing on the southern border. And yet President Obama refuses to build it. There's only about 30 miles that's been built. If I'm elected president, we will build every mile of that fence and wall. We will triple the Border Patrol. We will increase fourfold the fixed wing and rotary wing assets to monitor the border. We'll put in place a strong E-Verify system so that no one can get a job without demonstrating they're here illegally. We'll put in place a biometric exit-entry system on visas, which I would note again, it's current law, but the president refuses to follow it. And if we enforce the law, a couple of things happen. Number one, the flow of people here illegally stops. Now, as you know, the illegal population, many of the people who are here illegally, voluntarily go home to their families after a couple of years. If you stop the flow in, there's a natural outflow that occurs. Secondly, take the year 2013. In 2013, the Obama administration released over 104,000 criminal illegal aliens, murderers, rapists, drunk drivers. That makes no sense. We should not be releasing criminal illegal aliens. If I am elected president, every criminal illegal alien will be deported and sent back. And beyond that, we need to go after sanctuary cities. You look at what happened to Kate Steinle, this beautiful young lady who was murdered, died in her father's arms, shot by an illegal immigrant who was a repeat felon, who kept entering the country over and over and over again. If I'm elected president, we will end sanctuary cities because we'll cut off federal money to any jurisdiction that frustrates and fights federal immigration.
Your 5-point